Once, in a valley between two shifting mountains, there was a town called Pendulum. The town was famous for its beauty, but it had a terrible secret. The ground was made of fine, white sand. Every few hours the earth would tilt. A house that was upright at noon might be leaning at a 45-degree angle by sunset. The people of Pendulum spent their entire lives trying to balance the world. They carried heavy counterweights, they tied ropes to the trees, and they screamed at the ground whenever it shifted. They were a people of hyper-vigilance. Their eyes were always darting, waiting for the next tremor. They were exhausted not from work but from the constant anxiety of a world they couldn't control. In this town lived a young architect named Kyle. Kyle was the most stressed of them all. He had built 3 different homes, and each one had been swallowed by the shifting sands. He felt like a victim of geography. He felt that until the mountains stopped moving, he could never find tranquility. One day, Kyle saw an old man sitting in the middle of the town square. What was strange was that the old man was sitting on a simple wooden stool, and even when the ground tilted sharply to the left, the old man didn't move. He didn't lean. He didn't grab for a rope. He sat as still as a statue, eyes closed, with a faint smile on his face. "Master," Kyle cried, struggling to keep his balance. "How do you do it? How can you be so still when everything is falling apart?" The old man opened one eye. "You are trying to fix the ground, Kyle. That is your mistake. You cannot negotiate with the sand. It is its nature to move." "But I need a house," Kyle argued. "I need a foundation." The old man stood up and pointed to his own chest. "The only foundation that exists is the one you carry within you." Stoicism teaches us that a human mind can become an internal fortress, a place so strong and so well guarded that no earthquake, no storm, and no rumor can break its walls. Kale was skeptical. A fortress inside. How does that help me when my actual roof is falling? "The roof is a thing," the old man replied, "but the perception of the roof is yours. When the ground shifts, the crowd screams, because they believe their safety is tied to the sand. But if your safety is tied to your virtue, to your courage, your reason, and your integrity, then the shifting ground is just a change in scenery. It is not a tragedy." This was Kale's epiphany. He realized he had been an architect of the external, but a beggar of the internal. He had spent years building walls of stone, but his mind was made of glass. The old man taught him the secret of mental hardening, he said. "Every morning before the first shift of the earth, sit in silence. Imagine the worst that can happen. Imagine the mountains collapsing. Then ask yourself, does this destroy my ability to be kind? Does this take away my power to choose my reaction? If the answer is no, then you are safe." Kyle began to practice. He stopped fighting the sand. When the earth tilted, instead of screaming, he focused on his breath. He reminded himself, "The ground moves, but my agency remains. My soul is not a piece of furniture to be tossed around." Slowly, Kale's anxiety began to fade. He built a small, simple house, and when it inevitably tilted, he didn't panic. He simply adapted. He realized that the chaos of the world was only chaotic because he was trying to force it to be still. He became known as the Unshakable architect. Not because his buildings never fell, but because he was the only man in Pendulum who didn't fall when they did. He had found the sovereignty of the mind. This is the lesson for us in our modern world of endless news cycles, market crashes, and social upheavals. We are all living in Pendulum. We are all trying to scream at the sand to stop moving. We believe that if we can just fix the politics, the economy, or the opinions of others, we will finally be at peace. But the sand will always move. The world is, by its very nature, chaotic. The only way to find peace is to build your internal fortress. Stop looking for a foundation in the external world. Build it out of your own integrity. Make your mind a sanctuary where the only law is your own reason tonight. When you feel the world tilting, don't reach for a rope, Reach for your center. Remind yourself that you are not the house, you are the architect. The storm can take your roof, but it can never take your resilience unless you hand it over. Stand tall, even when the ground does not. That is the secret to an unshakable life.